A pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus, MV20, soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI, Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive?
The world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure? Murder. From the twisted mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadow Play Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus. Available where books are sold.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. I am Slime Pit Sean.
And I am Arachnid Anthony.
I'm terrified, Tori. I can't.
And I'm Ravaging Ray.
Oh, sexy. The last time I heard Ravaging, it was when we had Rue McClanahan on the show, when it was Ravaging Rue McClanahan.
Oh. It was going much more like a Conan death kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Well, so is she.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Hey. Hey. Your world ain't been rocked till it's been rocked by Blanche Devereaux.
Yeah, I picked more of a B. Arthur kind of guy, but
Well, you know,
Sailor B.
who's not? I mean, that's just, goes without saying. Guys, what's up? Welcome to
Horror
more-
Vision.
more horror. So listeners, we have a treat for you, and we have seen, well, I mean, probably a bunch of listeners have too, not like we got some advanced special screening, but so we're going to talk about The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. So it's kind of the big title, I guess, this week. I know I've spoken to many people out in the world or on the interwebs that were excited about its release. I was not excited. I hated the sequel. I mean, like really hated it. So let's talk about that first. So first of all, out of everybody here, do you guys, starting, I'm going to go Anthony, Tori, Ray. Anthony, do you consider yourself a fan of the Conjuring movies, or any of them in particular, or fuck them all, or what?
I really like the first Conjuring, and I've said before where I'm like, this is the film that kind of, reminds me the most of Poltergeist. Like, I would say that this is on the same level, in fact. As far as its offshoots, I may have seen one or two of the Annabelle films, and those are just dorky. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dolls and fucking flying dishes and shit don't scare me. So it's just not my thing. I haven't seen The Nun. Thanks to Tori's review of it, which was off camera earlier. I am going to go check that one out, and that's Max also. But I'm not sure what else is in the series other than those films. But I mean, the second Conjuring, I despised, I fucking loathed, and I was terrified to go into this third film, and I'm, quite surprised at what we ended up getting out of it.
What about you, Ray? Tori, what do you think? Are you a fan of the series in general? I mean,
series in general, no, because only two have been good. The first one and The Nun. Yeah, the scariest part of Conjuring 2 is Patrick Wilson singing a cover of an Elvis song. Do you guys remember that? Sings Elvis.
I think I have successfully ejected every single aspect of that movie from my brain, because I remember none of it. Like literally none of it is gone. And I watched it like a year ago. So.
Oh yeah, that's probably the scariest part. It's I think I fell asleep in the theater. that
Wow.
movie. I've seen only one Annabelle, and it's forgettable at best. Yeah, The Nun's great. I recommend that. That's about it.
Ray, what do you think?
I have not seen a single one.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what it is? No one has I haven't heard anyone say anything that like has really made me like go like, oh, I gotta watch that. I haven't heard like anyone rave about it. I haven't heard anyone be like, those are the best, you gotta watch them. And as far as even the Annabelles, like I'm a hard sell as it is on the haunted childlike objects. For me to get to sit down and watch them, like, and I guess that even counts like the Child's Play movies. I saw the first one as a kid, but beyond that, like, I know I saw the second one at some point. I don't remember it. I didn't see any of the others. I know that as the series goes on, at least with those, they tend to be a little bit more of the tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, which might actually motivate me to see them because of that. But from what I heard about the Conjuring movies, like they take themselves very seriously, and yet like they have these faults in like acting and things like that. And like, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna, because there's certainly a lot of horror that does that. But I feel like if you're gonna do that, like it should be tongue in cheek. Like you should be like nodding to the audience, like, yeah, we know the acting's not good, but you know, it's laughable, and that's why it's.
I will say, I can't fault Vera Farmiga is awesome in every fucking thing she's in, so she's never a weak link. And I actually think is it Patrick Wilson who plays Ed? Yeah. He's fantastic too. So as far as the 3 Conjuring movies, I think the first one is worth your time.
Okay.
I've talked here, as I think both Anthony and Tori also have talked here about what we see as its shortcomings, but overall, I think it's a really solid. I mean, you know what? Like, am I gonna? Is it as good as something like I don't agree. And all respect, the Poltergeist thing, I don't agree with it being on the same level. I definitely think that was a major motion picture from a major studio at that time. So in that regard, yeah, because when you're talking studio horror, Hollywood horror, it's just going to be different, right? You're never going to stack it up against something like, I don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre or, so many of the other Demons or just anything that we love, right? But the first one's worth your time. It's good, and there's some legitimately scary fucking moments in it, like really, and it's all just acting. So I think the acting in that one's solid.
Conjuring and the first Conjuring and first Insidious, I think are 2 of the scariest movies that have come out recently. Like actually scary, not just jump scare.
Yeah. They invest the time in building actual frightening like set pieces instead of just oh my God, the cat jumped at me and I thought it was a demon.
Are the Insidious movies connected to this? Because I've seen
no, but it's the same. It's all Blumhouse, right?
Oh,
I think. Okay. Oh wait, no, this. Say again, Tori.
It's James Wan.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Because actually, I don't think Conjuring's not Blumhouse. Actually, I don't think. Is it? I don't know.
Fingers.
The first Annabelle movie's fucking awful. The second one I have heard good things about. I'm not ready to see it, but the funny thing is, what they did? They brought in David Sandberg, who is famous. He's that like. I showed at least Ray his short films years ago, and then he got brought to Hollywood and made Lights Out. Lights Out was like his big short. It was like him and his girlfriend or wife, like in where's IKEA from? Is that
Sweden?
Yeah. And he would actually do these short films and then talk about, he'd put up videos about how he made them, and he'd always be like, IKEA is great. But he was in Sweden. They made, these shorts or whatever. He got brought to Hollywood. He did Lights Out, and then he got brought in and did that second Conjuring. And I've heard that it's actually, I'm sorry, the second Annabelle. I've heard that it's really good. First one's just so fucking bad. Oh, man. So.
On to the current one.
Tori, what'd you think of Conjuring 3?
Your textbook exorcist movie. I mean, there were great scenes in it, cool lighting, but I mean, I don't regret spending my time watching it, but it was okay.
You were happy to watch it at home on HBO Max as opposed to spending money and going to a theater?
Exactly.
Okay.
Kind of bummed. Not mad, but a little like, oh, okay. I could have saved the money.
Did you think that it was, as far as just the Conjurings, not necessarily all the spin-offs, but would you say you liked it? So you obviously, I'm going to guess you still like Conjuring 1 the best, as I'm going to assume all three of us do.
Oh, definitely the first one, then the third one, then the second one.
Okay.
The beginning of it, it's just really dark. I don't know if it's my eyes screwing up. I couldn't see a lot of it. It was like Alien versus Predator 2. The movie's so damn dark. You don't even know what's going on. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just kind of the same thing, and it wasn't really scary. But there was some cool lighting. There's a scene where the girlfriend is sitting on the bed of Arnie when he is in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this exorcist, like when Marin is at the door light beam thing, but it was kind of like this amber lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of showed her silhouette and the silhouette of the bed and the gentleman strapped on the bed. And I thought that was a beautiful kind of wide shot. So it had some stuff going for it, but again, I mean, watch it, guys, if you're a completist, but otherwise you're not. Yeah. It's not much. Yeah.
Anthony, what'd you think?
Not horrifying, not scary, but fascinating, and is very topical with a lot of stuff in media that I've been following and reading and listening to lately. So it fell in line with that, and so I was like, okay, well, this is just the perfect time for this film to kind of enter my life. I thought it was cool. It was well acted. Yeah, like y'all said, really well lit. There was some shooting sequences that were pretty cool. But I mean, beyond that, it is very run of the mill, like modern day exorcist film. You know, it does go beat for beat, and it's very tropey by today's standards. But with that being said, as far as it being a better entry than the second film, yes, I think we're all unanimous in the tier list of 1 through 2. But I mean, and I've said this 1,000 times before, if you're already paying for the service and you like those types of film, I recommend it. I think it's effective. Yeah. I think it's creepy where it needs to be. I mean, just somebody who's well seasoned. Again, it's not terrifying or scary to me, but for I guess beginner horror, beginner folks or just people that are getting into the genre, it's pretty creepy, and I think a lot of it has to do with just it's play on your religious views or what have you, but it's a good film. I thought it was done well, especially for one that's not directed by James Wan. I'm not sure, I can't remember the guy's name offhand, but
it's Chavez.
Chavez,
I'm not familiar with him.
Chavez or something.
What did so the director is Michael Chavez, and he did Curse of La Lorna, which I believe was also in some way a spin. I've heard it's a spin-off. I don't know how it was a spin-off, and I was totally uninterested.
I think just that it's Blumhouse. That's all it is, but I don't think they're connected.
Okay, I thought they were, but I don't know why I thought that, so I'm probably wrong. What, if I may ask, so what about Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, fell in line with what else you're consuming? Like, what was the dovetail there?
I've been watching a lot of listening rather to a lot of stuff on Satanic Panic lately, and this falls in line with story wise with what's the stuff I've been consuming. There's a couple of podcasts. I actually sent one to you recently.
Yeah, the podcast is what
Cults.
is it again?
Cults. Yeah. And yeah, it does. Like, I think they did like a four episode run of Satanic Panic, so it's like 4 hours of really cool material on cult activity and I guess you call it satanic activity in the late 80s, or I'm sorry,
faux
70s.
satanic.
Yeah, exactly. So seeing some of, I mean, I don't want to spoil it. It just came out this weekend. I'm not going to get into too many details on it. It does have, it has to do with, Satan. Satan. And, that's always a fun topic for myself. And
agreed.
For a few, like-minded friends here.
Any days.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like I said, it just clicked well with that, and again, that's where the fascination part for me, comes in and kept me interested.
Okay, I like that.
I went into The Conjuring 3 expecting to fucking hate it because I dislike 2 so much, and also Friday night is Joe Bob night, so I wanted to try and watch Conjuring 3 before today for the podcast, but I was like, I'm not watching Joe Bob, and I had to work this morning, so I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do this. Well, Joe Bob helped me out because he played movies that I was like, I can't watch this. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into it. It was a VHS night. Now, I'm going to go back and watch things because I caught the last 20 minutes and I was at least interested, but
Joe Bob every season does this thing, and it sometimes it's one night, sometimes it's you get one movie and then you get one terrible movie. He really tests your love for him. He does this. It's like if this is a relationship, like there's nights where he takes us out for lobster and wines us and dined us, and we're like, oh, okay, this is great. And there's other nights where he basically throws us a 7-Eleven hot dog and then tries to come at us with the rhino dildo, and you're like, God, hell, man.
That's a good analogy. Definitely. I mean, I love him for, what? Here's the thing. The people that made both those movies, if they're still alive, he made their fucking life by showing those last night. So cool. I digress. I was like, fuck this. I put on The Conjuring. And so now I already think I'm going to hate it. And I'm kind of disgruntled. The opening scene really was the first time now in a while where I was watching it and it's dark, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, I wish I was stoned out of my mind watching this in the movie theater right now, because I feel like it would be a much more visceral experience. Like it actually started to win me over. And then, regardless of even number 2, which I despised, Vera Farmiga is amazing and Patrick Wilson is great. So I don't ever have a problem with them. And so, we go from that opening set piece with it opens with an 8-year-old boy who's possessed. That's not a spoiler. I feel like that's in everything I've read about the movie since I watched it. So, but then you kind of go back and they didn't do the thing. And in fact, I felt like they were talking directly to the people that hated the second movie, because the second movie was so much in their fucking, their little museum room. And I just felt like the whole second movie, the little bit I remember of it is not specific, but that they were just trying to touch on enough relics to spin off movies, right? And in this one, there's a whole thing where there's a sequence where they're like trying to convince this lawyer to go for somebody with he was possessed, like plea for like a murder case. And she's like, nobody will ever, you can't even convince me. And they're like, why don't you come to our house for dinner and we'll show you Annabelle and we'll see how you feel. And so now I'm thinking, oh, here we go. We're going back to the fucking room. They didn't even show it. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate the fact that I feel like you're talking directly. They're like, hey, we heard you.
Sean C. Baker. This is for you.
and I mean, like, I don't know. So from there, like, all of the set pieces I liked. None of them were scary, but there was levels of intensity. The lighting, as everybody here has said, I thought the lighting was fucking fantastic because, and now like Tori said, it was so dimly lit that she couldn't see it. And I don't know, I was saying before we started rolling tape, I had just gotten an eye doctor. I was at the eye doctor right before I watched the movie and they dilated my fucking pupils. So like, to me, I could see everything. Now, I don't know if that's because my eyes were dilated so wide or if it was whatever, but I really appreciated. There's a sequence where it's Ed and whatever his like the helper guy is, it's like they split up. Like Lorraine has to go talk to somebody. It's near the end of the movie. And then Ed and this guy are like going through a map and like going through files, trying to find connections with something. And it, like so many other scenes, where all the lighting is this like dim orange, yellow, 70s lighting, like very hooded, you know, like recessed. And I felt like I'm looking at this scene and I'm like, I know that there's more lighting in this scene, but I don't see any of it. I only see the lamps. And I thought that was like really, really good. And so, yeah, we're talking about a lot about the lighting, but for a movie like this, where it's not really that scary. So it's all about the characters and, you know, building this intensity, and the intensity is the atmosphere. And I thought they nailed it. All of the exteriors of the houses were fucking great. Tori, you mentioned that kind of nod with the lighting to The Exorcist. Did you catch the one at the beginning when the fucking priest shows up? I'm like, oh my God, this is totally The Exorcist right here, but not enough to like, they didn't restage it as other movies I feel like have, right?
Yeah.
Like it's such an iconic shot that you see the t-shirt, but it was their own version of it. But so yeah, there was a lot about it I liked. I will say Lorraine's like being able to do psychic shit is starting to make me feel like I'm watching an X-Files movie, or I'm sorry, an X-Men movie, where like she does some shit where I'm like, okay, Jean Grey, like take it easy, or like burst into the Phoenix and kill everyone. But I don't know. I would definitely say anybody that liked number one, regardless of how you feel about any of the other movies in the franchise, if you like number one or you like the Insidious movies or any of this kind of Blumhouse, James Wan shit, I thought this was good. I mean, I'd give it a solid 3 stars, and maybe that's because I expected to fucking hate it. I don't know, but yeah, I liked it. All right. Now,
One more thing.
On.
One more thing.
Please.
One more thing. From the lighting to the soundtrack, and we were talking about this a little earlier. Which
Yes, thank you.
Really, really
thank
strange.
You.
So if you go all the way to the end of the film and you're watching, the credits roll, it goes into, soundtrack listing. There are 4 songs from the Sicario Day of the Soledad soundtrack. 5 songs from the Purge soundtrack, 2 from the Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2 from the soundtrack of End of Days. I'm sure we all remember that one. There's 1 song from Mama, 1 song from Arctic starring Mads Mikkelsen. If you haven't seen that, it is a fantastic film. 1 track from 1917 and 1 song from the Daredevil soundtrack. Now, I don't know what went on here budget-wise. I guess maybe they couldn't pay anybody to score the film properly, but they borrowed from a lot of films. You don't notice it. It seems very cohesive in as far as track selection. Just really weird. Thought I'd mention all that.
It's worth mentioning, and I will say, when you told me that earlier off camera, I mentioned I had been thinking but got distracted and didn't go back. I wonder who did the music, because Joey Bashara, I believe, did the first Conjuring. I don't know who did 2, and Bashara did, like Insidious, and in Insidious he is the Darth Maul demon. And I love the guy because he did Mike Mendez's Convent, so I've been a fan since then. But it makes sense, Anthony, that you say, and I love that you say you don't notice any of this, because you know what? The music was there, and I think this is, I don't know if this is a testament that I ended up liking this movie and it apparently didn't need to have music, or if that's bad, but like, I don't remember anything about the music. There was never a point where the music grabbed me whatsoever. It's weird. That's usually a first thing. And instead this movie, it's the lighting is like all I can talk about. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe Joey Bashara did the fucking lighting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very weird. Sean, you were saying though, please continue.
Oh no, I was going to move on. So Tori, before you do Black Roses, and I know you want to do Black Roses, and I want to hear you do, because I couldn't even make it through the trailer. Like seriously, Kirsten, I turned the trailer off. I was like, no. Ray, what have you watched recently, sir?
Oh, okay. Well, let me see.
He wasn't ready.
Well, no. I got one. Okay. Got one that I saw, and I think I was going to mention it during the last episode, but I didn't. So I'll bring up that one. Fried Berry, that hit Shudder. It's a lot of fun. It's at first I was like, I turned it on, and I immediately shut it off because I was not prepared. I thought it was a foreign film, that it was going to have subtitles the entire time. It's South African, so the wife is speaking South Africans a lot in the film, or Afrikaans. And then, but the rest of the movie, that doesn't happen. And it's, oh my goodness, it's like In the Skin, but it's a funny version.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah, that's a really good way to say it.
It's the alien that is the person that's being inhabited.
Wait, you mean Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson?
And I'm sorry, Under the Skin, totally different for me. Sorry, I'm Aldevar. Yeah, it's very much like Under the Skin, but it's a lot more comedic, and instead of this just like a regular woman, it's this drug addict, and yeah, like it's got this like techno soundtrack, and like just an alien being inhabited by a human who going around and doing a lot of fucked up shit. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, I fucking loved Fredberry.
Yeah, and like I apparently, because Joe Bob ran it as part of his show, and like one of the things he talked about was that it was apparently based on, and I think Sean talked about it before, but that it was based on a short, and because the guy who plays Barry is not a professional actor, so he was like, God, how do I get away with doing this?
So the guy that plays Barry is actually a stuntman. He's a long-time stuntman / actor. So he's been in a lot of things that you wouldn't realize. Like if you were watching the History Channel, like a Viking documentary, he was more than likely a Viking. So this was his first time to like show off his stunt work with his acting. But he's been around for a while, and he's got kind of a pretty good amount of credits to his name. Nice.
But yeah, despite the fact that he doesn't talk, it works. And like, it's really entertaining. It's crazy. The whole child killer abduction scene really threw me for a loop. I was like, is that what's suddenly happening? Okay, cool. And I mean, and everyone seems to be horny in the film for no good reason. Everyone's just
I think he's emitting something that's creating that. I'm pretty sure that's
is that he's emitting it, because it doesn't necessarily even work just so that people want to have sex with him. Like, people just tend to have sex around him too.
Well, I think because he's exploring, and his whole point is to like kind of spread the alienness. I mean, what better way than sex? And then he keeps seeing it on TV, like the love story. TV's kind of teaching him what to do in that movie. I think he's just picking up on what he's just seeing. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah. Tori, talk about it a little bit more. What else did you get from Friedberry?
It's definitely the director. He's doing a big nod to movies he loves. Like, there's so many influences in it. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Definitely.
There's a big nod to like explorers. What else? Natural Born Killers. There's a big nod to it. He has kind of a nod to Back to the Future. There's a lot of things that he's tipping the cap to. Some are subtle, some aren't so subtle. But I loved it. I loved how this alien is making this human a better person. He is. Like, Barry improves.
He does.
As the movie goes on. So to me, it's like the alien made him a better human. And just from an alien trying to discover a new planet. To me at the end, I was like, oh my, like so happy and like full of joy because of what he went through and kind of him closing up all of these ties that he had on Earth. I thought it was great and kind of joyful. It's not what I expected. I expected some like crazy drug fueled, constantly not so funny or tongue-in-cheek. I thought it was going to take itself more seriously, but it was a really pleasant surprise. I thought it was great.
I will say one of the things that I really liked about it, and my viewing was kind of fractured. I did the Joe Bob as well, and part of my understanding of this came from what Joe Bob was saying, how this was like a 15-minute short film that that really got a lot of ground for director Ryan Coogler.
It's not
And-
even 15 minutes. It's like a 3-minute short.
Okay, so he had used Gary Green, who's not
Yeah.
an actor. He's a stuntman, right? But he's very
Yeah.
visual, right? So when he gets the chance to make a feature, he can't not use this guy, right? Because this guy is Fried Barry. He's part of like his physiology is the movie in a way.
He's like my Berryman. You will know him because of this like beautiful, distinguished, appearance.
Definitely, absolutely, 100%, exactly. But the fact that he can't act, he's not an actor. It's not that he can't act, he's not an actor. So now Ryan Coogler as a director is like, fuck, I have to make a feature-length film with this guy. So, because I think the short is just about a guy that shoots heroin and has all these like weird like hallucinations or whatever, right?
And honestly, watching the short, I couldn't tell you what it was about if I didn't know already. I would have been like, it's somebody freaking the fuck out. I wouldn't have been like, yeah, it's an alien taking this dude's body for a ride.
I don't think the short is an alien. I think it's literally just about
Just
this dude. But so then I think Ryan Coogler was like, fuck, how the fuck do I use the fact that, how do I use this not actor as the lead actor in this movie? Well, what better fucking, and I think this is what really made me like the movie is I love the way he thought around the problem. And that's, okay, well, if I make it about an alien that's not human and doesn't know how to act as a human, taking over a human's body and going through all the shit in this movie, it behooves me to have somebody that's not an actor because he doesn't know how to carry him. Like it's a beautiful solution to what would otherwise be, I think, a crippling problem that would have led to a complete mess. And instead, he like rose to the occasion and
he worked smarter, not harder. It sounds stupid as that sounds.
No, it does not sound stupid. That is exactly right. So I mean, Ryan Coogler, fuck, dude. I mean, wow,
dude. I found out a really fun fact about that movie, guys, and it's not really a spoiler. So, one of my favorite characters are the two characters at the end in the mental hospital. Not Martini, but like, I'm gonna escape and tell him I couldn't make it. Okay, so fun fact, that same director did another short movie about those two dudes.
Oh, really?
And in the short movie, it explains that they're really time travelers. So the dudes weren't really fucking lying.
Oh, wow. That's fucking awesome. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so like this dude has already kind of made this little universe for himself. And I think it's great. And even in the movie, you could tell he's used the same set over again. So like utilizing your budget, that's great. You can't.
Wow.
Else.
All right, Anthony, what do you got?
I read the new issue or latest issue of The Silver Coin, Girls of Summer by Kelly Thompson and Michael Walsh. Sean, have you read it?
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing you haven't heard before. Little girl gets picked on. She's a horror fan. She hangs out at home, watches scary movies. Mom comes in. Hey, you're going to camp tomorrow. You shouldn't be watching that stuff. Packs up, goes to camp. She is definitely the odd girl out. She gets picked on by everybody there. And well, she hears a story about a murderer who used to live in a shack in the woods. They kind of tell scary stories about the campfire about her, or about him rather, and that he's probably long dead, et cetera, et cetera. Girl, gets picked on, has enough, goes wandering off in the woods, finds the shack where this guy used to live, finds this big satanic altar, and finds a hatchet that has the silver coin in it. For those who don't know about the story, or the storylines rather, silver coin is an accursed object, much like a lament configuration, kind of makes a dream come true, but also gives you a very bad, adverse effect with it as well. I.e. like Wishmaster, you make a wish and it goes really fucking awry later, but you do get what you want. Maybe, all of the gate too as well. But yeah, so she finds the shack of a serial killer, picks up the machete for the satanic altar that he has. And those who have read the previous issue notice that there's the silver coin embedded in the handle of the machete. And so basically, all of a sudden, she's what looks like is murdered in the shack, and the killer is now stalking the woods. The killer is out. You get these, these great panels with, all these bratty girls getting chopped up and hacked to bits.
Yeah.
And then the last blow, I think, to one of the ladies' skulls or something like that, one of the girls' skulls, knocks the coin loose, and the silver coin rolls off onto like a log into the middle of the lake to be found again by somebody else. And I'm really looking for the next issue. I thought I wasn't going to like this one because it's just, again, it's one of those things that's just beat for beat, and it's trophy
summer
at this
camp,
point,
right?
but it was executed so fucking exactly, but it was executed so fucking well. It was just like, man, this is good. I really
no
can't
pun
wait to
intended.
read the next one. Yeah, but it's fucking solid.
Heavy metal.
I'm sorry.
It's like the green orb and heavy metal.
Yeah. So there's only like two things that tie or that are recurring in the issues so far. And it's those who have read it know there's a little crow that yells no all the time that kind of warns you, don't take the fucking coin and the coin. But so far it's a really cool anthology series. And Chris has talked about it before, I believe on the other podcast.
Yeah, we talked about it on Most Horrible Library, I think a couple times.
What's that title again called?
A Most Horrible Library.
Goddamn right, people, go listen.
So also I'll point out, so I didn't realize it at first, but the thing that ties, so it's because it's Chip Zdarsky wrote one or two of these, and then I think it's Kelly Thompson wrote this one, right? Is that the right? And I forget who's writing the next one. Oh, Jeff Lemire is writing the next one, I believe. The person that ties all this together is Michael Walsh, and I think he's one of these guys. Chris and I were talking about this on A Most Horrible Library. I was unfamiliar with him, but I don't think I was. Like, I think he's just somebody I've seen his art for years and didn't realize, he wasn't a name that I followed. But we interviewed Jeremy Hahn, who did Red Mother and The Realm and The Beauty. We interviewed him a couple months ago on A Most Horrible Library. So I started following Jeremy, and he posted like between the two issues of The Silver Coin. Oh, I finally got it. And it's Michael Walsh's Sleep Stories. And it's a graphic novel. So you can read Michael Walsh's Sleep Stories online for free. And then now it's collected as well. So he's the artist that is doing all the silver coins. So he's
and that's a Kickstarter thing right now, right? I don't think that's going to be available in stores, because I saw a solicitation for it. I think it's a Kickstarter, and it's for the first issue. That's going to be, I think they're pushing a 32-page book. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a solicitation that I saw. So yeah, it is available for free online, but for a physical copy, it's one of those ones where you got to shell. I think it's like $20, but the artwork looks fucking sensational on it. It looks really good. It's black and white. But yeah, I was considering jumping on that thing while I still have time.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't realize it was a Kickstarter. There's an ad for it in the back of something. I don't remember what. It was some comic that I read so many fucking comics now. I couldn't even tell you what was in the back.
It's in the back of the Silver Coin book, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably what it was then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's just, www.thesleepstories.com, and that's where you can read it. And then you can probably also link to the Kickstarter through that. So, yeah, Silver Coin's bomb. I love it. And I'm just hoping, because there's huge gaps, right? So the first issue with the band is like in the 70s, and now this is actually the early 90s, which I thought was cool. A nice way for them to say, yeah, it's a summer camp story, but it's not the same one that you always know, because every summer camp story is always in the 80s, and this is not.
Yeah, because the young lady, and it's clearly living out like the nostalgia of watching old horror films on VHS at home.
Yes.
So
yeah,
which is cool.
Very cool. So yeah, it's a really good book. I definitely would recommend people pick it up.
Definitely.
Let me do one real quick. So I watched this a while ago, and I just haven't had time to work it in. But speaking of comics, I watched The Empty Man. Now, I had serious reservations about this. I'm a fan of the comic. It's a Cullen, Bunn, and Vanessa Del Rio. No, Vanessa Del Rey. Vanessa Del Rio. Never mind. Vanessa Del Rey. And the first miniseries, I think it was 6 issues, was in 2014, and I liked it. And then it kind of disappeared. Cullen Bunn blew the fuck up. He's got books all over the place. And then in 2018, the second miniseries came out and finished it. And I didn't even know it was coming. It's about a disease that basically, it doesn't wipe out the world, but it infects the world. And there's these fucking weird, it's so strange. It follows these 2 cops, this man and woman. And you start getting people that are just butchering other people, and you'll see things like in blood written on the mirror, like around the bodies, like the empty man made me do it. Nobody knows what the fucking empty man is. There are these fucking insane, it's like half humanoid, half like giant millipede things that are running around, and people are changing into them. And it's all linked to this guy that's in a hospital bed that hasn't been conscious in years. There's this thing where the male cop like takes one of the murders, the children skinned the mother alive. They hang the fucking skin up and it becomes a doorway, and he goes into it. He never comes out. Just really some really huge swings conceptually. Really like it. So I'm like, there's no way this is going to translate. It didn't translate. But David Pryor, who directed it, this is his first feature. He did it, so it's really well done. I really liked it. And the interesting thing is about there's a sequence where instead of they follow one cop, and it's James Badge Dale. He plays James Lasombra, and he's a cop investigating this murder. And you don't get the pandemic or the infection angle in the movie, but you get these murders, and there's this whole thing where the opening sequence is fucking great, really good. And there is this like idea that seems to be infecting people. And as Lasombra is investigating this, there's a sequence where he's looking into something. He's in the woods, and he sees a large group of people doing some fucking wicked ass Wicker Man shit. Like it's crazy, like giant burning altar and people like chanting. And I realized what David Pryor did. It's way more like an adaptation of a Laird Barron story than it is The Empty Man. And so that made me fucking love it. So if you read the Empty Man books and you're like, I want to see this adapted exactly, they take what they can from the books and use it pretty well, but it's not that. And it has way more of this Laird Barron tone. And I really liked it. The thing that convinced me to see it when I thought that it was not going to be good is the score is Christopher Young, who did Hellraiser. I mean, among other things, but you know, Hellraiser famously, with Lustmord. If people out there listen, if you don't know who Lustmord is, the idea of walking into a doorway into some other place, that's what Lustmord does with his. It's not music. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it is amazing. Like I write to it constantly. Sonic, like just landscapes, and he opens a door sonically, you walk through it, and so there's a lot of that kind of feel to the movie. And I gotta say, it was a $5.99 rental on Prime. Totally recommend it. It's long. It's 2.5 hours long, but yeah, I mean, I was ready to watch it again. I almost watched it again the second night that I had it. You know, it's a 48-hour rental because it stayed with me. I mean, I was just like, as soon as I realized, oh, he's not really trying to adapt this. He's doing something more in line with like the Laird Barron myth. It's not exactly the mythos, but it's the tone. And man, it was really cool. So,
and this is through Boom Studios film company, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And there was thank you. That was the other thing where, like, so, you know, obviously famously Marvel like loaned their properties out for years in perpetuity, and it ended up fucking up in the end, right? Because now they're Marvel Studios and they can do what they want and they can't get certain things back. Although I think they probably have it all back by now. But so Boom, who I love, they actually, this is from Boom studios. Like they have their film division now apparently, and this was their first entry into it, and it's a solid fucking entry. And I just, I don't know, I really liked it. And I think the opening sequence, it breathes, the whole movie breathes, so it takes its time to develop, but I think it'll pull anybody in when you get to where that opening lands and then puts you into the rest of the movie. I think people will dig it. So there you go. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I just bought the book recently. I'm really looking forward to reading and watching the film.
Is the book is it everything? Is it just the first miniseries?
That I know of, it's everything.
Okay, that's cool. Good. I'm glad they've collected it that way, because it was kind of, I think it did the story a disservice to have it broken up over 4 years or whatever it was, 3 years between, and with like I had no inclination it was even coming, so I was like, what a weird ending. And then yeah. So Ray, what do you got?
Okay, let's see.
What did you mention earlier? Something that you watched that you regretted that I had seen, or that you mentioned something before we started rolling.
Something. Oh, okay. Well, I can talk about that. I'll come back to something else then later. I started watching them. I didn't regret it. I don't regret it. I don't regret watching it. I haven't finished it. I'm about 4 episodes in. And I'm logically taking a break at the same point you did. In the I think it's 4 years since we've been doing this podcast. In the 4 years we've been doing it, I've seen a lot of horror. I don't think I've seen a moment quite as fucked up as in the 4th episode.
The cat in the bag, is that it?
The cat in the bag.
That's enough.
Fucked up. There's just so much about that show that is really impressive. Like it's one thing is that and the thing is that it's okay. Let me go a little bit into the show. It is about this family, a black family that comes from the South. During the 1950s, apparently there was this event that was called the Great Migration, and it's a historical event where a lot of black people from the South moved into the West, including California. And this family moves into a house in, I think it's East Compton, if I remember correctly, which at the time was a very white neighborhood. And they're the first black family that moves into that neighborhood. And it really upsets all of their white neighbors. And if they didn't have problems enough with their white neighbors and dealing with them, like there's a moment where like the lady across the street, the young lady that's living across the street, who's played by Allison Pill, goes outside and collects all of her friends to come out and sit in the street in front of her home for an entire day while the wife is unpacking the house and the husband's at work, with their radios turned up and just sitting there and staring at the home with sunglasses on, sitting there like this. If they didn't have to deal with that already and all this other nonsense that's coming at them with their pretty much white racist neighbors who are upset because basically they're the first black people in the neighborhood, and also it's smart because it tells it from both sides that like their problem is that they're worried about the neighborhood going down, they're worried about the cost of the homes going down, and as the kind of Allison Pill is kind of the main antagonist of the family. She is already experiencing firsthand within like the first 2 or 3 episodes white flight, because while she's sitting there like, we got to stop this, we got to fight for our neighborhood and make sure we get these people out, get them out, and I put that in quotations because that's the name of the show, but it's really smart. One of her friends, a neighbor of hers, says like, "Oh, well, we're moving, and we got great ocean." So she's already experiencing firsthand, like, yeah, the white flight's going to happen. But at the same time, like, they're just so mean to this family, and their family isn't. They're just trying to come in and just be people living in a nice neighborhood, and they just are not going to be allowed to by these people. And if it wasn't enough that they're going through that with the people, there's a supernatural element that they're being like. Each member of the family is haunted by something, and it manifests itself in different ways. So it's a little bit of a haunted house movie, but the spirits follow them around. But some of the more horrible stuff is honestly more of just the human element, like the shit they're dealing with other people, or like the terrible scars of the past that they're having to live through and remember because of what's happening to them currently. And it's really impressive. It's very well acted. And it is, I mean, it's based in history, so you can't say like, oh, that's totally unrealistic. It's, you know, why are they doing this? I think it's one of those shows where like clearly they're doing it because they're trying, kind of like the way that the Watchmen series highlighted the events in Tulsa. It's highlighting this event that took place and just reminding people like, yeah, this happened. Like, this is part of what we're dealing with right now. So it's really good, but man, it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's really rough. Really cool to note, Ty West actually directed, I think it's episode 8 and episode 10, which was very, very cool. After the Cat in the Bag, after that, I think we watched one episode like every week or 10 days. I mean, it would just, I'd watch one, I'd be like, I just can't. The next day I'd be like, I can't. I want to know, because it's really engaging. It's so well done. Wait till you get to the tap dance, man. Oh my fucking God. And apparently, okay, you've seen, okay. Oh God damn. That's like, you know, Alison Pill and Pat Healy, who I always love for Innkeepers and Cheap Thrills and other things. Dude, they are just such fucking scum. It's oh my God, they're so fucking awful. It's like, how do you make me hate Pat Healy? I mean, Alison Pill, I most recently I remember her from Devs, and she was also fairly unlikable, but like, God damn. Oh, but it also does, it kind of, you're going to see kind of, not making an excuse, but you're going to see something that'll kind of give you an idea of maybe why she is the way that she is.
Oh no, that's what I meant when I said it's kind of like, the interesting thing is that it's kind of trying to take a perspective from
like what makes a human monster.
I'm forgetting the name of the I wish I could remember her name off just like the top of my head. One of the creators of the show is, smartly enough, is
it's Little Marvin is the showrunner creator.
And then I forget the other woman's name, but another one is this. But they do it in such a way that like it's smart that, you know, it doesn't just make like, oh, she's just evil, she's just wrong. No, that's all there is. It's cut and dry. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, right. Christina Ham or Francine Volpe.
Like, character's backstory. And her backstory is fucked up, and her backstory is messed up too. So you're like, oh man, like it really is smart, because it, you know, you can't say what's going on with the supernatural element. Maybe it's just an evil that exists, but that in either side there's going, like, you know, you can't just say someone's evil, because
there's a reason why
they're coming from. So the answer to the solutions are as complicated as the problems. And I think that's one of the smart things that I like about the show, is that they're not just like patent, you know, like, oh, this is easy to answer, this is easy to solve. No, it's not. It is fucking, and it's, I think that's one of the things I really like about the show, is it approaches that way.
Agreed. It's a recommend, but I just always tell people, like, just like Anthony's watching it, and they're like, how far are you, Anthony?
3rd episode.
You get it in the first, by the end of the first episode, you already get like, oh Jesus Christ, this is gonna make me feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, human monsters are the worst monsters.
But you know what I want to really hear about? I want to hear about some fucking black roses. Tori, tell me about some motherfucking black roses.
You got
watch that. I know it looks cheesy as fuck, but I'm gonna watch it.
Give it to me.
It's fucking amazing. It is terrible. in the best way possible. I mean, yeah, satanic panic. We got metal. We got leather. We got big
Yeah.
demons and shit.
Yeah.
Like what else could a girl ask for? Like it's everything. It's terrible. It's pretty much it's a rock band. It's really a bunch of demons in disguise, and they're spreading the gospel through metal and metal shows. But it's cool because so they're traveling around, obviously trying to spread Satanism through rock shows, but they're smart because they're going to small towns first and giving away tickets. It's a lot of fun. I mean, that movie knows it's a joke. It plays up. It's not trying to be something it's not. It's a good fucking time. I definitely would do it as a double feature with Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Same director, right?
I think it is.
It is.
Oh my God. Please watch it. Just everybody watch it. I know Sean, you're saying you can't get past the trailer. It's just so much fun. Just get really high. Listen.
You sold me. You know why you sold me? Well, other than Satan, leather, and metal, which I just feel like you should have written the fucking log line for the movie. Because really, like, if I'm a producer, you're like, okay, you got 5 minutes, or you got 5 seconds. What's your movie about? Satan, leather, metal. Oh, well, I mean, how do you turn that down? But I realized in thinking about the trailer that I attempted to watch and had to fucking turn off because I think it's the trailer. You know what I mean? Like some trailers, especially from that era, they just do themselves a disservice by just going on and on and on and on, right? So I'll try the movie.
I've noticed that a lot of like 80s slasher movies, the trailers are like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes long, and got a shitty voiceover most of the time, and you're like, okay, keep going. But what's cool about Black Roses too, it's the parents are like, let's stop the show because their lyrics are horrible. And then, of course, you got the charismatic frontman that's like, they're just lyrics, I don't really feel that way. It's great. And what your parents have been warning you about for years finally comes true. Listen, right. The one should have listened to them because the satanic Black Roses are coming. And what I like to, pretty thoughtful. Like, it's not just, hey, we're a bunch of demons exposing themselves to the kids. It's like this little progression.
Wait, are they literally exposing themselves? Oh, I'm sorry. So it's not just about demons exposing themselves to kids.
Right. Terrible.
The special effects. What? Dude. These guys look like fucking rubber Muppets. They transform. They're so fucking bad looking.
So one of the Sopranos is in this movie. I forget which one. I forget his name. One of Tony's like friends in it. And yeah, he gets fucking eaten by a damn puppet. And it is him. Like, I don't know how he wasn't laughing the whole time because he is like literally wrestling with a fucking puppet. And it is best things I've ever seen in my whole life.
Oh, Vincent Pastore.
Yes, that's him.
Oh my God, Big Pussy's in this. Are you serious?
Big Pussy gets eaten by a puppet. A demonic metal puppet.
Again, you just kill log lines. I mean, seriously, that Big Pussy gets eaten by demonic metal puppet. How are you not watching that?
And the music, is actually pretty good. If you're into some of the hair metal.
Oh my God.
I have no qualms saying that I like the music. I think I did like blast some like Rat after watching that movie.
Nice. Hey, round and round. What goes around comes around. I'll tell you why. The Black Roses.
Do that. Yeah. Satanic panic. It was so much fun. Please watch it.
Okay. You've convinced me. I didn't think you'd be able to, but you did.
I'm telling you, Sinner Ray double feature. and Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Wow, you just read my mind. I was just going to say Ray.
This is so up your alley. You don't even know.
No, I'd seen it on there and I was considering it. I'll check it out. Shit.
Ray, will you do me a favor and wait to watch it until I'm with you?
Sure.
I want to see you react. I have a feeling we're both going to giggle like little schoolgirls for this movie.
That needs to be like our Discord watch with people that listen with us. Like,
oh yeah.
Rose is with us.
Yeah, so we have a Patreon, folks, and if you join, you can maybe do a watch along the Black Roses with us. Yeah. Oh my God.
Play your cards.
Wow. Wow. Anthony, what do you got?
I bit the bullet, and for 2.5 hours, I gave my time to Zack Snyder, and I watched Army of the Dead.
It's 2.5 hours long.
Actually, it's 7 hours long, but it's
7
only
hours
2.5.
long.
Oh, is
Feels
it
like a billion?
the Army of the Dead?
Ooh. It's fucking Zack Snyder doing zombies again, and it's even got a couple of nods to the zombie film he already did.
Are they
know,
fat?
There are classes of zombies in this film. So you have your standard shambler, and then you have the fast zombies, which they call alphas, and they also hint at a writhing mass of zombies that they don't do anything, which I thought would have been a really cool idea. So the story takes place in the post-apocalyptic area of like Las Vegas, where the last of these things are kind of like held up. And so at one point, they firebombed all these things. So there's these big like piles of just bones. And at one point when the character goes, yeah, you think they're funny now because they're not moving. When it rains, they come alive again. And I was like, oh, fuck, that sounds cool. But you don't see it.
Really?
There's like, yeah, you don't see it. But it's a cool concept that never gets executed. He already did all this stuff in his Dawn of the Dead remake. Like I said, even to the point to where he uses Richard Cheese in the opening credits of the film, and I'm like, okay, we've done this bit before. It's unfair to Bautista. I'm sorry, his first name escapes me.
Is it David? I think it's David.
David Bautista, who can act. And Sean, I've actually mentioned this to you before, like his little bit pieces that he's done in other films.
Fucking hilarious in What We Do in Shadows, and that little cameo he does in one of the episodes.
He was on that?
Yeah.
I've never seen more of the show. I need to go back and revisit that. But again, the film, I mean, it's everybody shooting does perfect headshots. Like it's very video gamey. The story's not all that engaging. It's very tropey. There's one or two interesting, like I said, new ideas that are introduced into the zombie, mythos that we have already. But again, it's all very poorly executed. I didn't hate the movie, didn't love it. It's just one of those things where it's like, if you've got time to kill, go ahead. It's not great. It's not amazing. And like, again, it's just recycled stuff that you've already seen. Now, from what I've heard, there's a bigger picture, and I guess Sean had mentioned that they're going to do a television show.
I heard there's a Netflix show coming that's going to continue it, and that's going to probably, I'm assuming, cash in on some of these.
Is it supposed to be kind of funny, or is it going more serious?
It's funny to some degree.
For the movie.
Yeah, it's funny to some degree. It's not an all-out comedy or anything.
It's not tongue-in-cheek at all, but so I watched maybe 30 minutes of it, and I bailed. I could not fucking stand it. It's Zack Snyder first and foremost, and then it's a movie with zombies and actors, and it's just so him, which there's a lot of directors I love, like David Lynch. Everything is David Lynch first, and then whatever it is. But I don't connect with Snyder, and every time I say that, I picture Schneider from One Day at a Time, and I wish that's what he looked like. That'd be so much better. But yeah, so like
tool belt.
yeah, exactly. apparently there's going to be a Netflix show or something. And to that, I was just like, so you made everybody watch a 2.5 hour movie, and now there's going to, like, he also seems like he's trying to be this, like, everybody else, like, like what, his Justice League movies, fucking, what is it, 4.5 hours long? It's just like, okay, calm.
Oh my God.
It just seems so it seems masturbatory, really. And that's the 30 minutes that I watched. That's what it felt like. And also, I don't mind David Bautista and what I've seen him in, which isn't much, but I felt like it was very clear they wished they had gotten The Rock and they didn't. And so they, like, I kept feeling like they were staging him like he was Dwayne Johnson.
Great value, Rock.
Yeah. And it's a shame, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll go back and try again. There's some things I've heard you say or other people say that apparent tie into aliens, possibly. Somebody told me there's a scene where there's like multiple dimensions and like they're looking at themselves. Was that in the movie?
I don't recall that.
It sounds a lot like Dead Rising, the video game.
I mean, I texted. I think maybe I said something to you about Snyder, and he's just, the thing that bugs me, is that even the thing where you were saying that, like, they talked about older release, they're these zombies and they're not alive, but when the rain comes, they'll come alive again. Like, it's a perfect example of like where he heard something somewhere else.
Yes,
I'm integrating that in, and it'll sound really bitchin', and it'll sound really cool, but he doesn't pay homage to the fact that he stole it from somebody else. And the thing is that, like, if you've read not in the movie, but in the book, there's a whole story where this girl is talking to the main character, who is this guy sent out from the World United Nations to collect the stories of the people who lived through the zombie apocalypse. And she's walking in the snow as she's telling him her story, and like they're coming upon these frozen zombies in the snow in like upper Canada, and she's bashing in their heads as she's going. And she says, yeah, you have to do this because once the snow melts away and they'll come back to life and we have to deal with them again. So we have to do this. I'm sorry, but like the zombie baby that's in Dawn of the Dead, I'm sure he saw Dead Alive because there's and it's a lot funnier. And it would be fine if he like were recognizing like, oh, this is from somewhere else, this is where I got it from, but he's trying to pull it off like it's his own. And I think, like I texted Sean about this, and I said, you can see he's part of this league of directors that like grew up loving people like Spielberg and Lucas and things like that, and went, I'm going to make movies and they're going to be badass someday. But he misses the point, and I think some of the others do too, that like you have to do this and you have to do it with heart though. So it's all fury, it's all smoke and mirrors, there's no heart to it. So like you don't engage with it,
It's a lot of things stolen from like zombie video games too.
I mean, it makes sense, right? His movies seem like video games, so I mean, and I feel like they're distinctly for gamers. Nothing that's not derogatory towards gamers, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, you hear me, 13-year-old punks? You want to get served in Mortal Kombat? Let's go.
What's your handle so they can look you up? I don't even know if that's how that works.
Said you were gonna fuck my mom. Thank you. I'm just kidding.
It's Buttercup.
Buttercup. Okay, so for any gamers out there that want to test their mettle against Anthony, look up Buttercup on Mortal Kombat. I don't know. I'm
making all that shit.
Okay.
You can't.
I don't even know if that. I didn't know if that's how that works anyway. So
I'm just kidding.
Limp Bizkit love 69420. That's Anthony's handle, you guys.
Oh my god.
So I watched the special, and after I watched the special, I then watched The Untamed. And the special, it's good. It's body horror. It's American. Maybe it was a mistake for me, and I actually, but I did it. I did write a Cinereg, so it's a perfect double feature with The Untamed. But that being said, if you're going in to watch the special, it's a very clear metaphor about drug addiction. It is a pool that you're dipping into. But in Untamed, by comparison, is a lake you're jumping into. It's about a group of people, and there's an alien, and it is a tentacled alien, and they're fucking the alien. But it's not as simple as it makes them. They enjoy the sex, because it also removes their feeling of emptiness and gives them a sense of serenity and calm that they don't have in their lives. And it has
it's like
a lot.
Sex addiction.
Yeah, but it has a lot to do with the truth of their lives and a lack of connection with other people. So it's definitely worth a watch. It's a great film. It is foreign, but it's definitely on par with like Tigers Are Not Afraid, or if you're a person that was brave enough, as I have been, to check out We Are the Flesh.
Mm-hmm.
It's on par with that. Which is, to say that it's somewhat messed up, but good.
But is it like We Are the Flesh has that surprise where it's like, oh shit, this is actual sex. Like, is that how?
No, the reason I say that is because of the subject matter it's dealing with.
Okay. I'm just to give people a warning,
Yeah. The subject matter it's dealing with. It's not real sex. I mean, like it's clearly a fake alien, and like,
okay.
But I mean, there's also depictions of like people having sex with each other.
Well, that's
like,
more what I was like wondering.
I don't know. I don't think that
well, let's put it this way. We Are the Flesh, there's no doubt, because there's like a shot where it's like, it must be the guy, it's like erect penis going into woman's mouth. Like, there's no studio magic. It's what it is, right?
Oh.
But it is. But
we spent our whole budget putting the CGI dick in her mouth.
Well, somebody spent the money on Untamed. Someone spent the money to have a tentacled alien putting a tentacle into a person's mouth. So you see it and you're like, God damn, they're really showing that. It's like looking at a realistic version of tentacle porn from like an anime. Like,
it's like a hentai.
Wow.
Hey, but Ray, what did you think? Like, not to give anything away, the ending of the special. That I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Okay.
It really plays into the metaphor and like
yeah, let's not give anything away.
I understood what you meant when you you were like, oh, it got gross and it kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
And once I got there, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. I kind of got giddy. I was like, oh, it's coming. I know what this is already. Oh shit.
The movie gets pretty toward the end.
It is nasty.
Definitely, it's like Fatal Attraction. How Fatal Attraction, warned you about the AIDS crisis in the 80s. It's kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, one other thing, just to cut two more things really quick. One is a mention they put a whole bunch of things on Shudder, including American Werewolf in London, but they also put on Eve's Bayou, which, if you haven't seen Eve's Bayou,
watch it
and go watch it. It is a fantastic movie. It deserves more eyes to see it. It is a great film. It's not per se horror. It is American Gothic, but man, is it good! It's such a soft. So
you want to make it homework for the next episode where we all watch Eve's Bayou?
But I'll rewatch that film. I don't care. It's great.
Well, you saw it. If you just watched it, so I haven't seen it. Anthony, have you seen it?
No.
Would you be interested in watching it?
Sure.
It's like a good drama. I saw this movie when it came out years ago, and I loved it. It's just a really good American movie that, like Ray, it hasn't gotten a lot of love. It's like Journey Smollett. It's her first movie role. She's 5 or 6. She's fucking amazing.
Wow. Okay.
And black female director. Like, how many times do you get to hear that? And it
Wow,
was
okay.
'90s, which is super impressive that a black female was able to pull off this movie in the '90s.
It's almost like I don't know if you guys ever like read or watched like House of the Spirits, where it's a family drama with
Mhm.
kind of supernatural element in it.
Okay.
Oh, and then the last thing I wanted to mention is just a reminder for everybody. It is June, so it's Pride Month. So check out some queer horror. There's a lot of good stuff.
Knife and Heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say Knife and Heart.
Knife and Heart.
To recommend that enough. It's a fantastic film. There's Spiral, which is on Shudder. That's a
I've been
great
meaning
one.
to watch that. Yeah.
Spiral is great. That's a good one.
Oh, Spiral is great. You're right. There's Lyle. There's The Quiet Room, which is a short film that's on Shudder. That's really good. So yeah, they've actually got a list. They've actually created a list right there on the page, on like the homepage of queer horror. So there's a lot of good stuff to check out and watch. And like, it's the perfect month for it. Why not?
Yeah.
If you step out of your comfort zone, like Knife Plus Art is a great film, but you do have to step out of your comfort zone and be prepared. Like it's worth a watch.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Anthony, any closing, anything you're looking forward to coming out, Blu-ray release wise, or comics, or anything else you want to throw in?
Two Moons, real fast.
Yeah.
Talk about some Two Moons real fast. I have, this is issue 3. I have not had a chance to watch issue 3. Fuck, this is good. It's a horror set in Civil War times. It is about a young Native American man who is forced to fight for the Confederacy, and basically has the ability to see demons on the battlefield. So I mean, you see that there's some guys out there that have these like almost like a blood rage while they're out there killing, and then they get around to revealing themselves at some point. Very fucking creepy shit.
Yeah.
Not to mention like just all the different like race relation problems that are happening at the same time, because he's Native American. And it's just a phenomenal. The fucking storytelling in this is fantastic. The artwork is fantastic. It's incredibly well written. Very fucking cool stuff.
It's kind of hard to come by. I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about it. And I feel like I've been reading a lot of, it's Image puts it out, a lot of these, like, out of a lot of these horror miniseries that are out right now or have been out in the last year or two, I really like this one. I mean, there's a lot of them that I like, but this one, like, I don't know where it's going. The character, Two Moons, Native American, but he was raised by white people. So he doesn't even know. So he's in like, he's with another soldier, picking up or dropping off a wounded soldier, and he sees like his grandfather.
Yeah, he sees his corpse.
Yeah, and then it talks to him. It's and basically says like, you don't understand. You're like, you have this gift. Like I'm a shaman, and you have it. And it's really good. And the fucking demons or creatures, whatever the fuck they are, that masquerade themselves as men, are really fucking creepy. There's some creepy fucking imagery in it. I would very much recommend it. I think a lot of people are going to have trouble finding the issues, so there'll be a trade, obviously, and it's definitely worth picking up.
Absolutely. Phenomenal storytelling. Again, killer artwork. Just fuck. If you can find it, buy it. It's really good.
I'm so glad you brought up Two Moons, because when I was like, oh, I got your number 4, I forgot. I also have for you, dude. So Ed Piskor, I don't know, Red Room. Oh my God, this is fucking so amazing. Oh my God. Oh, Fantagraphics puts it out, and it's huge for them. Like, I always see them listed with their solicitations, and it's stuff that I don't normally see in the comic shop where it's not prominently displayed. This, like, there was a fucking, like, just a vat of them, and it's selling. It is a book. He worked with Ed Piskor. Apparently, he worked with Harvey Piker. I don't know how to say his name, but at some point, I'm not. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I'm not that familiar with him, but it's that, like, I don't really know what you call the style. It's a thick book, and it's basically about Red Rooms are basically snuff dark web channels, and people pay, and you get a lot of these scenes of people killing in they have stars, this network. It's like a network channel in the dark room that has these stars, and they dress, you know, they have different like avatars, they call it. So they're dressed in different costumes and they fucking murder people.
It's
And
like Hostel meets The Running Man.
have you read it?
No, I just like that.
Oh, dude, it is. I love it. And usually like snuff stuff is not like, it usually really gets to me. There's something about the way this is done. And the dark web fascinates me, but repels me at the same time. This is so good. It's so
I think it's the
good.
art style. I think it's the art style because it's kind of crumb, you know?
Yes, crumb. That's exactly. It's very crumb. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good though. It's creepy as fuck, and just I loved it. So I can't wait for the next issue. Tori, anything?
Last thing is I finally watched Found. Oh my god.
Speaking of erect phalluses.
Yeah. and bowling balls.
Oh my god. I can't. What a great fucking movie.
It is, but man, it stayed with me in ways I didn't care for.
Yeah.
But
oh man. Yeah, I can, but that movie, I just sat there even after I finished with just my mouth open, like, what the fuck? So fucking good. It's just nice to have a different kind of horror story, and I don't know. I think especially, you know, us or, you know, listeners can relate to it when you're growing up, especially liking horror. I've always had someone look at me and say, you're a fucking weirdo. You know, oh, why do you like all this gore? You're going to end up being a serial killer, etc. So I don't know, that kind of touched me watching that and getting that from them. And then just the bond that siblings can have, whether it be good or bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I still like watching like that in Saint Maud recently. Just maybe that's why I wasn't a fan of Conjuring 3. I've been watching like these great movies that are up here, so unfortunately everything else kind of falls to the wayside.
Yeah, dude, that's valid. So that's like what I was saying about Conjuring 3, where it's like it's 3 stars, it's good at what it is, which is like a Hollywood horror movie. But and Found is something I don't know that I can recommend it to. My friend Missy's been asking about it, and I was like, and I was like, go back and listen to our episode. And she listened to it. She's like, y'all loved it. I don't understand. She's like, you spoke so highly of it. I'm like, it's a really good movie.
I would definitely recommend it. Again, it's like, to me, Martyrs. It's not, you know, hey, watch this and feel happy, you know. But yeah, that's a great fucking movie.
Yeah, it is. It's even just the animation at the beginning. I was like, oh my God, like, holy cow, this is like really broad.
And like the whole opening line, my brother has a head in his closet. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Brilliant movie. Please, you guys, whoever's watching, like listening to this, watch it. Again, it's not fun. It's not Black Roses, but it's a great fucking movie.
So maybe watch Found and then watch Black Roses.
Yeah, it's your palate cleanser.
Yeah, maybe. That seems like that might be a good thing.
I wrote a scenario about that one. So like my double feature for that was Random Acts of Violence. And I said for further viewing, maybe check out Maniac, the original, and Henry. Definitely.
Henry, Maniac, though, those two movies fuck me up because I almost feel sorry for them.
Maniac, definitely. Maniac doesn't bother me the way the other movies do. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why, but it doesn't bother me.
Maniac does in the remake because it makes me feel sick in certain points, the way he's moving, you know, when he gets that blurred vision. But it's definitely a compliment. But yeah, those movies definitely, and even Found kind of makes you a little sympathetic to somebody that's this fucking monster.
Yeah, I wasn't very sympathetic toward the brother, especially when it gets to his reasoning. I didn't care. I thought that was the misstep in the movie, actually, where I was
Yeah,
like,
that pulled me
wait,
out of it. Like, really?
yeah, I mean, we talked about this on that episode when we watched it. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That threw me through a loop because I didn't see that coming.
Well, and it just didn't. I don't know. It just seemed like
it's so base.
uninspired.
You're expecting something much more profound, and it's so base in nature. Like in nature, what he goes to for reasoning, where you're just like, really? Like,
yeah,
you're just a fucking idiot.
yeah.
Yeah, you're a dumb, just redneck.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so on that note, let's wrap it. So we'll be back soon with another episode. But for now, for the Horror Vision, I'm Slime Pit Sean.
I am Annabelle Anthony.
I'm terrified, Tori. I can't. How do you top that?
Reaper.
What is it?
Raper. What?
The Reaper. Not the Reaper. The Reaper.
Tune in next week for my review of Lords of Salem.
You're just gonna tease that forever.
Yes,
We'll get
forever.
it out of you.
I'm
You
totally
loved
going to
it.
do it forever.
Loved it.
That's going to be a new bit.
Chinese democracy of the Horror Vision is his fucking take on Lords of Salem.
And it's funny. It's like right when Anthony said Satan, Ray's screen started to flash.